Yes, thanks for staying with us on the Sports Show. Time to get some teams that are doing really well at junior level. The South Adelaide Footy Club under-18s are sitting on top of the ladder, and it's because of Brett Cordwell and Charlotte Matthews, a couple of other people as well, but they join me now. Thanks for coming in, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Now, you normally have a group of three, so Todd Carr, he's just decided to be a no-show tonight.
Yeah, I let him know we're here, and he said, no.
No? So would you suspect he's home working on his beard because it's pretty ordinary?
He does need to give it a comb. He gave it a trim, but it needs a bit of work.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, some of the boys reckon it's the worst beard they've seen.
He could spend more time in the gym on the beard, but
he could. Now, Brett, let's start with you. I mean, most people see the strength and conditioning coach. It's an easy job. The boys don't come out. You do a couple of laps with them, you give them some weights in the weight room, and then away we go. Much more complicated than that. Can you just take me through an average week for you working with the under-18 boys?
Yeah, so it's probably not as complicated as people think, but so Tuesdays they sit with us probably for an hour from 4 till 5. Well, it's their prerogative to get there, and then we put it on them a little bit, and then from there they'll go in and do a review, and then we'll have our training, and then Thursdays again from 5 till 6. It's their prerogative to get into the gym, and then Saturdays is mostly Saturdays is game day, and then Sundays we hope they recover and do their smarter base for the sandful, and Mondays they're ready to go, and they're back with us on Tuesday. So that's generally a week, and then pre-season it changes a little bit. But yeah, that's...
Okay, Charlotte, for you, you're the strength coach. I mean, is it a case of did you have a core of exercise for the players and then there's some individual stuff for players, or is everyone on the same program?
Well, basically how we do it in pre-season, we've got 3 programs. So we've got beginner, intermediate and advanced. And because some guys, they just have had no experience in the gym, so we kind of try and make them do a bit of movement stuff without weights and really improve their movement, and then we'll add a bit more weights and a bit more advanced exercises. So we try to keep it as basic as possible, just because they're young, they don't know what they're doing, and they're going to get more benefit out of actually doing simple exercises properly rather than putting in really complicated stuff. So.
Okay, that's a really good point you make, because we see a lot of people that go to the weight room and get injured because their technique isn't right. So if we talk about just the moment the new guys that come in, how much time is spent by you guys working on getting your technique right before we load up on the weights?
A lot. We're actually pretty lucky down at South Adelaide. We get 45 minutes Tuesday, Thursday in pre-season just to work on movement, mobility. So that's just basic movement, animal walks. And then we're in the gym and just doing basic stuff without load. So we get a lot of time just to work that and drill in that technique. So they're pretty self-sufficient during the season.
Brett, some of the guys like to do weights before they go out and play. Is there a group of guys in the juniors that like to get into the weight room? You've got to kind of pull them back a little bit and say, yeah, we don't need to be doing that just yet?
Not necessarily, because on Saturdays it's all gun-ho. I'm from ready to go, but there are a bunch of guys that are in there, we probably don't need to name names, that are in there consistently, and that it shows in their results individually and as a team. So again, it's their prerogative to get in there and do the work. So Charlotte sets it out with the strength stuff, and then if they want to do it, it's going to benefit them in the long run. But there's guys that you probably need to push a little further. But
how do you go with the guys in the weight room? Because some guys just love it, being part of the team. They just eat up the weight room, and other guys just takes everything just to get them in the room.
Yeah.
Is it hard for you guys to stay motivated when you're working with guys that actually aren't that motivated?
Oh, look, you can only do so much, and I'm pretty passionate about helping them, so I try my hardest to do so, but at the end of the day, they're only going to do what they want. So yeah, we've had a pretty good team this season, so they've been pretty obedient, I guess that's the word. But
no, that's the word. Obedient is a good one. Hey, mate, we watch a lot of the teams, and we see that in the AFL. If we use as an example, teams, some people are privy enough to get inside the room, see the warm-up, then they're out on the ground and warm up again. For the junior team, is the routine pretty much the same, or do they get a bit bored and you've got to mix it up a little bit?
We probably mix it up a lot more in pre-season, but we get the benefit of getting to work with Tommy at the senior level, and so we sort of take stuff from his pre-season and definitely his pre-game routine, and then we sort of just adapt it to our timeline for a game. So during season and definitely trials, it stays the same. So we go out, we have probably 20 minutes before second team meeting, then we'll come back in, have a chat, then we're out again for 10. Give or take, depends on how long Bangers talks for, but so that's generally how it works in games, and it generally stays the same, and the routine stays the same, and we'll do some mobility and then start off with the run-throughs, and it goes to the skills, and then just goes from there.
All right. To set that program, it's not like you walk in at the start of the year and you go, I think we'll use this warm-up this year. How long do you guys sit down as a group before the season starts and go, okay, this is the format, and you probably have to tinker with it over the course of the year, but this is the format we think we're going to go with this year? How many weeks, months before you actually start with the whole group?
Like the whole or just the warm-up?
Just the warm-up.
Probably, well, we sat down probably in October last year.
Yeah.
So it starts from there. So if your body's not ready to go, then they're not ready to go running, conditioning, strength-wise. So we sat down probably October last year, and it all started from there. And then, as I said, like we get to watch Tommy. Like we've got to go along to league games last year and the finals at Adelaide Oval, and probably the warm-up where it really went from there. We saw what he was doing with the league team and how much time he spent on the Oval, and we sort of adapted from there. And we were lucky enough that the coaches were quite willing to say, look, you can have the time that you want, sort of thing, and we'll sort of peg our messages back, so it was quite good. But yeah, it all starts probably from last year and pegs from there.
The other thing we see a lot of in all sports is that overuse injury. You know, there's been that myth for a while that more is better. I think we've started to understand that that's not the case. Is there a time, even during the season, where you've got to say to guys that are in the weight room, you need to get out of here? Or are they okay?
I mean, we're pretty good with, I guess, telling them how much they should train, and we do lots of RPE, so perceived rate of exertion. So if they are feeling quite tired from the load of preseason, because it's a pretty dramatic increase in load, then we can pull them back, and that can be on an individual level because obviously people are at different levels. So yeah, that's basically, it's kind of just hit and miss, and you know, putting it out there, seeing how they react to the training, and then going from there. So you have like a basic how you want it to go, but you always have to work off individuals.
Normally when you get a competitive group of guys, and certainly under 18 guys are no different to that, then you get, let's use the bench press as an example. Do they get to the point where they say, let's see who can max the most on the bench, and you've got to go, boys, we're not in here for that kind of competition?
I think like definitely our programs derive from a run 1 rep max, so that's sort of where it all starts. And you can peg the guys who are going to pump out as much as they can, and then there's guys who just say take those plates off. Because every guy at under 18 is trying to be the big dog. So, but yeah, we get like the programs are standard from 1 rep max, so it starts from there, and you know it's a bit of a pissing competition.
It's competitive, but it's good to have that. Injuries happen over the course of the year, they're inevitable, and so then there has to be a part of the weight and conditioning program that's tailored to rehab and recovery. How many people would be involved? There's the doc, the physio, the trainer, you 3 guys, if Todd turns up whenever he wants to. And if I left anyone else, so there's normally 6 or 7 people that are involved in sitting there going, okay, this is what we need, then you guys have got to design the program around that. So it's not a quick fix, is it?
We're pretty lucky. Like Chris, our head trainer, he's done a lot of work with the league previously. So like he's got a lot of, like if we use soft tissue as an example, like he's got a lot of stuff, you know, hidden in archives that he sort of pulls out, and it's been really good. Like we've had pretty much like a 0 reoccurrence rate on soft tissues this year, or like very minimal soft tissue as it is. So he pulls them out and we get to work from them, and then so it's one, diagnosing the injury first, which Ryan, our physio, will do, or Tyler, who is an osteo as well, who comes down on Tuesdays, and then Chris will set out a program and they'll sit with that for about 2 weeks, depending on the injury, and then they'll build it up, and we help them build the load up, and then when they're ready to go back in full training, it goes from there. All
right, the Panthers sit on top of the ladder in the under 18s, game to go, then the finals start. Feeling pretty confident?
Yeah, without jinxing it.
Okay, no jinxing it, so we'll ask no more questions. Hey, thanks for coming in, guys. Good luck in the finals. Todd, do something with that beard, mate. Stay with us, people. Plenty left on the show.